Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something I've learned from years of talking to men and women about love and relationships. If you want a man not just to like you, not just to want you, but to be downright addicted to you, there are 6 silent rules you got to live by. And the funny thing is, they ain't loud, they ain't flashy, but they work every single time. A lot of people think that being in a relationship means putting everything out there from the jump, telling every detail about your life, your thoughts, your feelings, and your history. But here's the thing, human nature doesn't work like that. What really keeps a man leaning in, wanting to know more, is a little bit of mystery. It's not about being secretive in a negative way. It's about pacing how much of yourself you reveal so that there's always something new for him to discover. Think about it. When you watch a good TV series, you don't get the whole plot in the first episode. The writers keep you hooked by giving you pieces over time, revealing just enough to keep you curious and invested. The same thing works in relationships. You want to be that story he can't stop following, the one where every chapter makes him want the next. Now, when I say mystery, I'm not talking about playing mind games or being hard to reach just to frustrate him. I'm talking about holding back just enough so that he feels the excitement of pursuit. Men are wired to chase. It's in our nature to work for what we want. If you lay everything out in the first few weeks, you take away that chase, and without that chase, a lot of the excitement fades too quickly. When he asks about your past, you don't have to pour out your entire life story in one sitting. Share the highlights, the moments that matter in that conversation, and save the deeper stories for later. That way he gets to peel back your layers one at a time, and every time he learns something new about you, he feels like he's earned it. Mystery also works in how you carry yourself. You don't have to announce every move you make or explain every decision. If you're going somewhere, let them find out when you get back and you tell the story. If you're working on a project or goal, let him see the progress over time instead of giving him the full plan from day one. That subtle unpredictability keeps him wondering, what's she up to? And trust me, wondering is a powerful thing. When a man wonders about you, you're on his mind. And when you're on his mind, you've got his attention. It's also important to keep some of your thoughts and feelings for yourself at first. You can be open without being an open book. If you reveal every opinion, every dream, every insecurity too quickly, you remove the intrigue. Let him ask questions. Let him guess a little. Let him work to understand you. A man who has to work to understand you will naturally invest more time, energy, and emotion into you, and that investment builds attachment. Now, here's the tricky part. Mystery has to be balanced with connection. If you hold back too much, he might think you're disinterested or distant. That's why it's important to give him enough to feel close to you while still keeping certain parts of yourself for later. Think of it like giving him a sneak peek instead of the whole movie, just enough to make him want to buy the ticket and see the rest. Another thing mystery does is it allows you to set the pace of the relationship. You decide when and how much to reveal. That control keeps you from feeling rushed and keeps the relationship from burning out too fast. When you drip feed your story, your experiences, and your world, you create anticipation. And anticipation is addictive. He'll keep coming back, not because you're withholding, but because you're making the journey exciting. At the end of the day, mystery isn't about hiding who you are. It's about letting him discover who you are over time. The longer you keep him discovering, the longer you keep his interest alive. Men don't stay addicted to what they can predict. They stay addicted to what surprises them, inspires them, and makes them feel like there's always more to learn. Respecting yourself is not just a nice idea. It's the foundation of how you teach other people to treat you. In relationships, the way you carry yourself sets the tone for how a man sees you, values you, and responds to you. If you don't respect yourself, you're opening the door for him not to respect you either. Respect starts with knowing your worth and making decisions that reflect it. It's about setting boundaries that protect your peace, your values, and your happiness, and not being afraid to walk away if someone can't honor them. Men can sense when a woman has self-respect, and it changes the way they approach you. When a man knows you have standards, he either rises to meet them or he moves on. And either way you win, because you're not settling for less than you deserve. Boundaries are not about building walls or shutting people out. They're about creating healthy space that ensures the relationship stays respectful and balanced. When you make it clear what you will and won't tolerate, you're not being difficult, you're being smart. If you don't set those boundaries early, you risk ending up in situations where you feel undervalued or taken advantage of. Men actually admire women who can draw the line and stick to it. It might challenge them at first, but deep down they respect it because it shows strength, and strength is attractive. Part of respecting yourself is being consistent. You can't set a standard one day and then drop it the next just because you like a guy or you're afraid of losing him. That's where a lot of women trip up. They start strong, but when emotions get involved, they start bending their own rules. The moment you break your own boundaries, you're teaching him that your words don't hold weight. And once that happens, it's very hard to get that respect back. You've got to hold steady even when it's uncomfortable, because that's how you earn lasting respect. Self-respect also means not overgiving just to prove your worth. It's natural to want to show a man you care, but if you start doing too much too soon, you send a message that your value is tied to what you can do for him rather than who you are. A man should want to be with you because of your presence, your personality, and your character, not because you're bending over backwards to keep him happy. Give from a place of balance, not desperation. Let him earn more of you as he invests more into you. And let's talk about the energy you carry. When you respect yourself, it shows in your posture, your voice, your decisions, and even the way you enter a room. You don't have to announce that you have high standards. People feel it. You don't chase validation because you already know your value. That quiet confidence is magnetic. Men are drawn to women who don't need constant reassurance, who can stand alone but choose to let someone in because they genuinely want them there, not because they're afraid of being alone. Another part of respecting yourself is making sure you don't lose your individuality in a relationship. Some women make the mistake of revolving their entire life around a man once they're together. They stop prioritizing their own needs, goals, and friendships. That's not respect, that's self-neglect. A man will value you more when he sees you still have a full life outside of him. It sends the message that your happiness isn't completely dependent on him, and that's powerful. It makes him want to add to your life rather than define it. Respecting yourself also means not tolerating inconsistent behavior. If a man's actions don't match his words, you have to be willing to step back and address it. It's not about being confrontational. It's about protecting your emotional well-being. When you let things slide too many times, you're telling him it's okay to treat you that way. But when you stand firm, you set the tone for the entire relationship. He knows where you stand, and he knows he has to show up right if he wants to keep you. When you carry yourself with self-respect, you make it clear that being with you is a privilege, not a guarantee. That energy changes everything. It makes a man not only want you, but want to be the kind of man who deserves you. And when you're with someone who feels lucky to have you, the entire dynamic shifts in your favor. Men thrive on appreciation. It's in their nature to want to feel valued for what they do, for the effort they put in, and for the way they show up. But here's the thing. While appreciation can strengthen a relationship, overpraising can have the opposite effect. If every little thing he does gets an exaggerated reaction, the praise loses its weight. It becomes routine instead of meaningful. That's why it's so important to find the balance, showing him you notice and value his efforts without making it feel like you're putting him on a pedestal or acting like you can't live without him. A lot of women fall into the trap of thinking that if they constantly shower a man with compliments, he'll stay hooked. But men are quick to sense when praise feels forced or excessive. Instead of motivating him, it can make him take it for granted or even feel like you're trying too hard to keep him. Real appreciation is specific and genuine. When you tell him exactly what you value, whether it's how he made you laugh on a stressful day, how he handled a problem calmly, or how he showed up when you needed him, it hits deeper because it's real. The other reason to be careful with overpraising is that it can shift the power dynamic in a relationship. If you're constantly lifting him up without also affirming your own value, it can make it seem like you're the one chasing his validation instead of the other way around. Healthy relationships have mutual admiration. He should feel lucky to have you just as much as you feel lucky to have him. If the admiration is one-sided, it creates imbalance. And imbalance always shows up in the way a man treats you over time. Another thing to understand is that men like to feel needed, but they also respect women who can stand strong on their own. If your appreciation starts sounding like dependence, as if you couldn't get through life without him, it can unintentionally make you seem less independent and more reliant on his presence for your happiness. There's a big difference between saying, I appreciate what you did for me, and I don't know what I'd do without you. The first communicates gratitude, the second communicates dependence. Gratitude keeps respect intact, dependence can chip away at it. Appreciating him also means recognizing his efforts, even in small ways, but not making every little thing into a grand event. Sometimes a simple smile, a genuine thank you, or even a touch can say more than a long speech. Men pay attention to how their efforts are received, and when they feel genuinely valued, they're motivated to keep showing up for you. But when the response is over the top for every single thing, it stops feeling special. It's also important to avoid using appreciation as a bargaining tool. If you only express gratitude when you want something in return, he'll start to feel manipulated. Appreciation should come freely without strings attached, and it should be consistent over time, not just when you're in a good mood or when things are going your way. Balancing appreciation with self-worth is really about making sure that your admiration for him doesn't outshine your belief in your own value. It's okay to let him know when he's done something great, but it's equally okay to acknowledge your own role in making the relationship work. When he sees that you respect and value yourself, your praise carries more weight because it's coming from someone he admires. A man will work harder for the approval of a woman he respects than for constant, effortless approval from someone who seems to give it away without thought. And finally, appreciation should be a two-way street. If you're constantly giving and he's rarely giving back, it's a sign that the balance is off. The best kind of relationship is one where both people feel seen, valued, and inspired to keep doing the little things that make the other person happy. When you keep your appreciation genuine, measured, and rooted in mutual respect, it not only makes him feel good, it makes the relationship stronger and healthier. Confidence in your own life is one of the most magnet qualities you can have. When you have passions, goals, and a sense of independence, it sends a message without you having to say a word. You are whole on your own. That kind of energy is powerful because it changes the way people see you and the way they treat you. In relationships, it's the difference between being someone's partner by choice or being someone's partner out of need. Men are naturally drawn to women who can stand on their own 2 feet. It's not about trying to prove you don't need anyone. It's about showing that you are a complete person and the relationship is an addition to your life, not the definition of it. Having your own passions is a big part of that. When you have interests in activities that light you up, you bring more to the relationship because you bring experiences, energy, and stories that don't revolve around him. It's exciting for a man to see that you have a life outside of him, and it keeps the connection fresh. When you talk about something you're working on or learning about, your enthusiasm is contagious. Passion makes you glow in a way that can't be faked, and that glow is incredibly attractive. Goals are another piece of the puzzle. A woman with goals is a woman with direction. It shows you not just drifting through life waiting for someone to give you purpose. You have your own. It could be career goals, creative projects, fitness milestones, or personal growth targets. The type of goal doesn't matter as much as the fact that you're pursuing it. Men respect ambition. And when they see you working towards something, it inspires them to step up their own game. It also creates mutual respect because you both recognize that you're each building something for yourselves and for your future. Independence doesn't mean pushing people away or refusing help. It's about being capable of standing on your own while still allowing someone to be there for you. A lot of women think they have to either be fully dependent or fully independent. But the truth is, the sweet spot is in the balance. You can be self-sufficient and still let a man contribute to your life. The key is that you don't rely on him to meet every need. When you're independent, you make decisions from a place of choice, not fear. You choose to be with him because you want to, not because you're afraid of being alone. This kind of confidence changes the energy in the relationship. When a man knows you can live a full life without him, it makes him want to be a part of it even more. He's not drawn to you because you're clinging to him. He's drawn to you because you're moving forward with or without him. That kind of momentum is hard to resist. It also means you're less likely to tolerate bad behavior because your happiness isn't tied to whether or not he stays. You know you'll be okay no matter what, and that self-assurance is attractive and rare. Another benefit of having your own life is that it prevents the relationship from becoming suffocating. When you each have your own worlds, you bring something new to share when you come together. You're not sitting across from each other with nothing to talk about because you've been in each other's pockets 24/7. You're bringing new perspectives, new stories, and new experiences to the table, and that